Hello, I'm Linda Alvis. I'm a pastel artist, and I thought today I'd just give you a few ideas about doing your own pastel drawings. It's a messy subject and people get in a bit of trouble with it, so there's some easy little tricks. I thought we'd do something today together and you can have a little practice at home. So to start off with, what I thought I'd do is just show you a few examples of my work and what can be done with pastels. Okay, so first of all, on the wall over here, I've got a range of new works I've just had framed, and they are just rather bold flowers. I thought we'd go rather big and just sort of get a bit of colour, a bit of fun. And then just below them, I've got, because I live in Bristol, I've of course done the suspension bridge. A very famous Bristol suspension bridge. I've got quite a few pictures of those. And then just waiting to be collected here is a commission for somebody, their much loved dog. This is the famous Framlingham Frank. So that will be going home soon to its new owner. And then over here, I've got my children's book that I wrote. I've got two children's books. Worrell and Robin and the sequel, Worrell, Robin and the Garden Visitor, and I've illustrated them. So here we have a range of the original illustrations, but I also do very inexpensive small tile prints that are suitable for children, for people who don't want really to go to the expense of buying an original, because framing a pastel, if it's worth keeping, it needs to be behind glass. And it can be an expensive business, so it pushes the price up of pictures. So we've got some really nice, reasonably priced things here, and greetings cards. So there's always something for everybody, and it just gives you ideas of what you can do if you end up with a lovely picture that you want to reproduce and send to your friends and relations. You can make a card of it. I've also been very lucky to travel, and so over here I've got a few examples of work that I've done from my travels abroad, various countries, portraits, landscapes, so you can see what's possible with pastels. So what I'm going to show you now is my range of pastels that I use. Now I've got an awful lot here on the table, and you can see all the many colours. I tried to sort of grade them into different colours so it's easy to find when you're working, otherwise you lose them pretty quickly, you can't remember which you've used. I tend to use a French make called Sennelier, that out of interest just happened to be used by the famous artist Degas. But also my very favourite is Unison pastels made in Northumberland, lovely homegrown stuff. They have beautiful pigment, and it is said that pastel has the most pigment of all of the medium. That's oil, watercolour, tempera, and it's supposed to be very permanent once it's behind glass. And of course it is fragile till you get it behind glass, so if you've got something worth keeping, you need to get it framed properly. So that's my range. I've also got a few other things I use, but we'll just start something now. I'll just show you what I think I've just started this morning, which I had a very beautiful gladioli plant in the garden. And with any flowers, if you're going to do flowers and you put them in a vase and in a warm room, they change within hours and they've blown. So if you can be quick, that's excellent. And if you've just got something lovely in the garden that you want to photograph, you can photograph it. And I photographed this very nice white gladiolus. And I'm just going to show you how I start a pastel painting. Of course, a very important thing is cover yourself up, because pastel does stain, and if you get it on your best clothes you'll have a bit of trouble getting it out. So you can wear a smock or a pinny, or just put anything around you that will just protect your clothes. So to start a painting, of course, you've got to have the paper. Now I use something called UArt because I've been doing it for years, and I found that this type of paper has a little bit of what they call tooth, which holds a lot of pastel. But beginners, it can be expensive, so beginners can buy a pad, just a pad of pastel paper, or even start off with ordinary sugar paper. and a basic box of hard pastels or soft pastels that you can get online, and just have a go. But anyway, I'm going to start with what I've got, and the main thing is the traditional way of starting is with a piece of charcoal, which sounds funny, but you start off, and I've already done the drawing here basically, so we would just basically do the drawing how we roughly think it's going to be on our paper. And then, this seems a bit bold, you take a dry cloth and you immediately wipe it off. You'll never get rid of it completely. But what it does is leave you with a shadow that at this stage you can alter it. So say I think I've got this petal, this petal is a bit wrong, I'm going to have that little bit there. At this stage you can still alter it. So I've altered it, wipe it out again. You don't really want to leave the charcoal on the paper when you start putting the colour on, because it is a bit muddy. Charcoal is wood, and it can be a little bit oily if you're not careful, and you want to keep the colours as pure as possible. So let's just say we've got the drawing. I mean, you can try anything you like. I'm just doing this flower. You could try a cup, a bowl, anything you like, just to start off with. So also, before I start, I have a dry cloth and I have a wet cloth. And the idea for the wet cloth is that between each colour that I use, I just wipe my fingers. I get in a routine of, I keep the wet cloth on the same side and the dry cloth on the same side. So between each colour, give my fingers a quick wipe off and dry, and then you've got almost clean fingers, because it's very easy to get your fingers muddy, and then you muddy your pastels and then you don't even know what colour they are. So that's the routine to start off with. The other thing is, I have just another little container. It can be anything, one of those plastic boxes that you get fruit in. And I use that to choose the pastels I'm going to use for this painting. If I just put them all back in the boxes, I'll never find them again. So the ones I'm using for this drawing, I shall keep in this little box. But before I start, to keep them extra clean, I'll take some ground rice. So I'm going to put some ground rice in the bottom of this. The idea with ground rice is that when you've got your pastels in here, you can give them a little shake up every so often and it keeps them clean. And I also store them all in ground rice as well and give them a little shake up because, as I say, they can be very messy. And if you muddle up your colours, they'll end up all looking brown, you know, then you've got a huge job of trying to clean each pastel, which is a nightmare. So there we are, we're ready to start. Now I'm looking at this, white isn't always the easiest colour, but if you look at it closely, and another thing I use is a magnifying glass. So actually, if you're painting from one of your photographs, you really need to look at it through a magnifying glass to see exactly what's happening. It's easy to cheat, and then it'll look very sort of amateur and perhaps very sort of uninteresting. So you want to make it very interesting. So even though it's white, and we look at it closely, there's very little pure white actually in that picture. You can see there's green, there's yellow, there's greys and pinks. And so the main thing is to have as much variety as you can. So that's what I'm going to try and copy. I've got my drawing, and although it's on a dark background, and dark backgrounds can be very nice, but I think what I might do is pretend it's in a lovely blue summer sky. So the first thing I'm going to choose is some blue. So I'm going to have a look at my blues and think, what blues would I like for this sky? I'll have to put my glasses on for this one.